Trump's drone stocks could help you retire early. There's one drone stock, Ondas Holdings, ticker symbol ONDS, just released Q3 earnings a couple weeks ago. Beat on earnings per share, well, slightly less of a loss, which is still an improvement above consensus. Beat on sales and beat on guidance. They do have a backlog. The revenue's $10 million, so it's not a lot, but it is up 6 times. So like $1.5 million last year over year, and quarter over quarter, they're up 60%. So this company is showing that people actually want to buy drones, and by people, I mean the government, mostly. They also are boosted by Trump's executive order and the FAA's agreement to allow beyond visual line of sight drones. So this is not a hobbyist vertical. Drones are obviously very controversial and very profitable for companies that can make them and have that national security assurance that they're going to be able to sell parts to the government or to other drone companies. So some of these companies actually do get big orders just selling parts so far. But you know what? A government contract is a government contract. And this ticker, Ondas Holdings, looks like it's holding up. We'll look at the price chart in a second. There's one other ticker I want to let you know about that is coming off of solid earnings. Beat on revenue, beat on earnings. So earnings is profit. So they made more money. They kept more of that money than it was expected. And they're expecting to make even more money. So guidance is up for the next quarter results, which will come out in January. So this ticker is PATH. That's the ticker symbol, PATH. UiPath. They had an agreement with Microsoft. This is a relatively recent IPO. And you're not betting on some type of design IPO like Figma or a crypto IPO like Circle or CoreWeave, which is this potential hyperscaler play that hasn't really moved up in a way that you would need to see to know that they're going to make it. So the money keeps flowing in the AI trickle down circular economy. And instead of betting on those companies right now, when people keep using the B word, I do think that there are some non-bubble companies like this drone stock and this recent earnings IPO software stock UiPath that are well positioned. So let's jump into these two companies right now. This is not financial advice, but I hope it helps.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 All right, so this is Ondas Holdings, ticker symbol ONDS. Here's that revenue. We'll jump into what those results were, but if we look at the chart, we can see it was definitely an upwards move, and this is at a time where the market was going down. You can see in the background, that's the SPY. So some definite choppiness given these massive down days. This is, let's see. This is November 20th, which was almost as big a down day in the market as back on here, October 10th. So these candles are kind of forgivable. I'm not actually going to do this for the long term, but you could do something like this just to make you feel a little bit more precise about how good this stock is doing. Not, putting too much of the market's rough days into it. So I'll put those back at some point, but yeah, it looks good. And what's this stock going to do now? Is it just going to march up? Probably not, but that's what I said about the SPY, that it's probably not going to go up here, and it just keeps marching up. So, you could say, hey, after a pullback like this, we're definitely not in a bull market. To which someone might say, hey, we're down whatever this is, 1%, something like that, from all-time highs, and you're going to tell me it's a bear market. It's absolutely not a bear market. So if anything, there's a little bit of a bull bent to the current market, and people will poo-poo, OpenAI's deals with AMD, for example. They're still trading up. I mean, most of these deals are trading up above when OpenAI said, hey, we're going to buy your chips with the money we got from NVIDIA that we're going to use to also spend on NVIDIA's chips. We broke up with Microsoft. Well, we're not exclusive with Microsoft. It's a very important distinction. Microsoft still owns part of them, but doesn't get to make all the decisions. And Microsoft doesn't look great right now. So didn't help Microsoft earnings. There's one other ticker that I told you about here. Sometimes these earnings reactions are not representative of the earnings results. And sometimes you just have to say, you know what, look at the volume on this earnings reaction, look at the previous run after this earnings, and look at the opportunity here for this recent IPO. You can see on a 5-year chart. This is a 2021 company. I mean, this hasn't been around forever. And like most 2021 companies, startups, whatever you want to call a publicly traded startup, it's just now having a little bit of bounce. So there's a lot of opportunity to the upside. I'm not saying this is going to be the, Carvana that Eric Jackson was saying he bought down here or whatever, and that led to the beginning of the open run. But it's definitely not nothing. So Path has some volume coming into it, and Ondas looks great. But like I said, I mean, take your pick. Do you want to pick, the worst example is Oracle. Like, yes, this is kind of turning up. All these stocks are kind of turning up because the market just went up basically 15 days in a row. That doesn't mean you want to buy Oracle. That doesn't mean you want to buy these quantum stocks. That doesn't mean you want to buy rare earths just yet, right? I mean, so Ondas is the drone pick, and Path is the recent earnings IPO pick. And just to get levels out really quickly here to make sure we're totally on the same page, this is a level 18.3. So here's what you could do. This is obviously going to be important. 19.8 and 17.5 is going to be important. So if it goes down to 17.5, you could buy it here, risking 17.5. So, risk 10 cents or something like that. Otherwise, if it goes up above 18.5, you could buy it, through that and then risk that level. So those are sort of the options. It's moving 6% a day right now. So you could risk, 3% would be fair. Half of the average daily range. So something like, 75 cents, something like that. And then for Ondas, this is firming up. I'll put these bars back at some point when I figure out how to do that, because they do exist. So this could have a check back at this point. It would be great if it forms some type of flag, or quasi flag, something like this. Earnings threw that wrench in that a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. Sideways upward motion is good, but even better is a little bit of a check back where you get some type of level like off here to here. So don't worry, we're going to jump into the fundamentals at some point soon, but this is pretty important, I think. So maybe that check back will be to here, sort of all of this price agreement through here, here again. So maybe you can buy it off of 7.6, or you can buy it off of 8.6. But as always, risk, 30 cents or something well, not as always. What 30 cents is okay, so let's take this. 4 to 5% is the max you want to risk on this. And if you're going to do that and you're going to take 5% of your portfolio, say you're risking 5%, you're risking whatever that is, 0.25, a quarter of a percent on your whole account. So what that is just about 50 cents. So keep that in mind, to not risk more than 50 cents. So you could buy here as long as you risk here. And if you want to, right here is what I'm talking about. If you want to be more cautious, you could risk maybe the open here. So that should be plenty of technicals that probably just put everyone to sleep who was all excited about the long-term growth opportunities of these American companies, which that's why they're going up. And we can talk about that. 10 million in revenue. Those are the growths. 60% quarter over quarter, 6x increase year over year. AKA they weren't making any money, and they got a contract basically. So that revenue beat expectations. Earnings per share was not as poor, and they have a 20 million backlog for autonomous drone robotics. Drones. We're just going to call that, which is awesome. Raised guidance to 35 million and 100 million target for 2026. So definitely a beat, even though they're losing money. As far as how they compare, I think this is the main question everyone's having is, okay, great, drones are being not nationalized, but definitely getting some tailwinds from the government. So which ones do you buy? And this one definitely seems to be holding up super well. But there's some other public tickers that are definitely worth looking at. And you've probably heard of some of them. Red Cat and Unusual Machines are some of the smaller ones. Dragonfly and AeroVironment are a couple others. And if we look at AeroVironment, AVAV, this one definitely trends very smoothly. It doesn't mean that these trends are always easy to catch, but if you can get some sort of trend through an earnings reaction, there is an opportunity here, but I don't want to touch this before this earnings. And then UMAC, it's kind of in that same quantum bucket of just volatile and choppy. Same with Red Cat. These are also pretty illiquid in general. This is like, I don't know, $50 million traded per day, something like that, a little less maybe for UMAC. So for that reason, Ondas is definitely the leader. And as far as path, talked about levels in detail, but just to have a little check on what these guys do, I do think path and its connection to Microsoft is important. Otherwise, there's a lot of software companies. You can't just fall in love with all of them, especially when Salesforce and ServiceNow are moving towards agents and AI, but still not showing that in the stock price. And just to reiterate that, this is Salesforce and this is ServiceNow. I mean, look at those moves. So path is definitely different, but this is why they're more in the AI automation, sort of enterprise, AI deployment category. So they're more similar to like a GPU layer, deployment company. So more of a picks and shovels. I just saw a story of an AI startup that started doing AI training and now has a $1 billion valuation, pivoting from probably a consumer services startup. So founded in 2005, headquartered in New York. And this is basically enterprise automation data. This is everything that people keep saying we need. And this company has been around since 2021. It's the right time, the right place. And they do have this connection. I don't know if it's TalkPath, not TalkPath, UiPath. People keep saying that ChatGPT is not going to be able to get to, 500 billion in revenue over the next 5 years. You can sometimes see why it might not get there, but in general, I'm using it, so it's definitely the best use. There's a lot of integrations with Microsoft, and anything that is basically built into Microsoft has some serious tailwinds. So that's Path, and that is Ondas. If you like these ideas, hit that like button. Helps people find them, helps the YouTube algorithm find them. If you want a free course on how to find the next NVIDIA without gambling on startups, hit that subscribe. I post that in the YouTube post section for subscribers once a month. And if you want to check on the live stream, head over to stockscommunity.com and you can head in there and see the best idea of the day. So I don't know when you're going to see this, but 9:30 a.m. on market open days.
This is Sam Putnam. This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.
This is Sam Putnam.